Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show, back at it again. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
I told y'all a couple weeks ago if we're late, it's because Marcus is delaying us. So sure enough, my man, picked the wrong color hat.
Told y'all a couple
And
weeks
I'm
ago if we're
messing
late.
up. I gotta mess it up. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
whatever. Back with a light week of golf this week. We knew it was gonna be so. PGA Tour, LPGA not playing this week as the ladies get ready to go for the Solheim Cup. The guys will be back at it next week, kind of restarting this season with the fall shuffle. The old guys were playing this week. I didn't even look at the
Yep.
final results, but I'll look that up as we look. But Matt Wallace won over in Europe on the
Yep.
Omega European Masters. Emotional win for him. I don't know, man. I've never been a real fan of Matt Wallace. I saw him earlier in the year. They did like a walk and talk interview with him shortly thereafter. My man blew up. How much of the European Masters did you get to watch? Weather impacting a lot of that tournament. They're up in the mountains, so they had heavy
Yeah.
rains one day. I had fog delay this morning. How much did you catch?
I caught a bit of it. I mean, it was the only thing on TV, so we watched that, and then the Asian tour had the Shin 40th edition or something like that. I was watching that, but didn't catch a lot of the Champions tour. I mean, I don't know. If it's not Freddie, I'm really not trying to watch. Stuart Sink's pretty cool. Miguel
Yeah,
Angel
and it looks
Jimenez
like
is pretty good.
it
But he
looks
was
like
on
the
he was on the DP
Champions
World
Tour.
Tour.
Who is that?
Miguel Angel Jimenez. He played on the
Oh,
DP
that's
World
right.
Tour. He always plays in
That's
Switzerland
right.
at that Omega Masters. Yeah.
It looks like they are in a playoff, went into a playoff with Bernard Langer and Y.E. Yang, with Y.E. Yang pulling it out on the fourth playoff hole. So shout out to Y.E. Yang. He's been on a bit of a run, won the Open Championship not too long ago for the men. So, no, that's KJ Choi.
That's Kate.
You did not hear
That's
that. That's
I did not.
KJ Choi.
But
Yeah, that was
Wai
KJ
Yang has
Choi
been
that
making
won
a
the
resurgence, though.
He has. Both of those guys play a lot of hybrids. It always throws
Yeah,
me off a little bit.
that they
Anyway,
do.
so yeah, Matt Wallace, my man. Emotional win. I think his fifth DP World Tour victory, and well deserved. Went into a playoff himself as well. Had a chance coming down the stretch with our guy Beef Johnston, who ended up, one shot short. Ended up with solo third, and Matt Wallace having to get a birdie on the final hole, or excuse me, the 18th hole as they played that as the playoff. Um, Again, just kind of average guy from England. Really a club tinkerer. I was putting together his what's in the bag. The guy changes clubs quite a bit. He was a dedicated Callaway staffer back in 2022, but has gone through a number of different clubs since that point. So we'll review that, get that out of the way, and then we'll hit some of our other topics for the day. Pull this up. That is Matt Wallace, if you did not know his face. Again, Englander, has been playing on the PGA Tour quite a bit this year, but swings back and forth to the DP World Tour quite a bit as well. So again, I mentioned this the last couple weeks when we went over Lydia Ko. The Ping 430 G430 LST is the hot boy, hot girl club for the year. He's playing
Hmm.
it in a 10.5. I put the neck setting up here, so he's playing that as a flat setting. When you don't see the markings on the Ping neck, that's when you have it on the flat side. So he's got it laid a little bit flat. The other setting is a little more upright. I also play the flat setting as my arms are a little bit longer and the upright setting feels really strange. So the Fujikara Ventus Blue TR7X, we've seen this one pretty much throughout the year, in a lot of players' bags. But again, we're going to get into it a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of migration away from this particular shaft. TaylorMade QI10 Tour. This one was an interesting loft at 16.5 degrees, playing a 4 wood. and also the Fujikara Ventus Blue 8X. And another unique touch. A lot of the players have been playing the standard version of the QI10. He's got the tour with the weight shifted to the front, so increasing his spin. What do you think about this?
Um, Weight forward makes it low spinning, so it's
I thought it
doing
was
weight
pause.
back
I
means
thought
it's
that
doing
took.
like giving it more loft,
I
make it
thought
putting the
wait.
CG like in the back.
I thought putting it to the back made it spin a little bit less because when I had my TaylorMade M1 back in the day,
Hmm.
that was low spin in the back. But maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Um, yeah, 16 and a half is a weird setting, but I guess if you have it the weight forward, that helps you as far as your launch conditions go to help it from not going too high. You might be right. I mean, you're probably right with the spin. I mean, but last time, I mean, what they're gravitating towards now is like with the GT series and stuff like that. Even with the weight forward, the spin is still way down. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still you're right. It's weird because a lot of these players with the 3 wood or 5 wood are going more to the regular or the max version, so that even with like a draw bias, they're still hitting left or right shots or straight shots and stuff like that. So they're finding a way to manipulate these clubs and use them to the best of their ability.
Yeah, I just found it was weird that, not weird, but just outside of the box that he was playing the tour version. We've seen a
Yeah.
bunch of players playing this particular club, but just not the tour. So nice little touch. And I think also, and I could be wrong on this, guys that kind of have originated in Europe don't their wood lineup is very different than your traditional player that grew up in the US playing a lot of parkland courses, and I don't know if that has any
Yeah.
influence on how he sets his bag up, but definitely a unique touch there.
Hmm.
In the hybrid Titleist TSR2 18 degree, this is kind of where we see the migration, and we've been seeing this shaft, the Tour Design AD D1105 X Flex. We're seeing this particular shaft make a big comeback this year. We've seen that in Hideki Matsuyama. A couple of other players' bags that we've reviewed this year have gravitated back toward the Tour AD, which is awesome. I'm glad we don't have to talk about the Fujikara Ventus in everybody's clubs and kind of through the
Yeah.
bag. So, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, the Tour AD is a great shaft. I mean, if mine win the split at the Hazel, I still would be using it. I think nowadays, with how my swing has developed, I feel like I go heavier shaft like I've been doing normally. But other than that, it was a great tool. Takes the spin away from all these faces and clubs and stuff like that, but helps and gets you a great trajectory. So you play a little bit more through the air. You're not worried about rollout as much. That's not as much of a factor and stuff like that. So I believe it makes you more accurate off the tee, and when you're using it coming in the greens and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan. So happy for him. And the 18 degree, that's essentially a 5 wood. So him playing, a lower lofted 3 wood essentially, and then a 5 wood. That I mean that models up with pretty much every bag that we have. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
an it's really just a matter of how you want your 5 wood or 18-degree club to look. Some people want a smaller top line and a smaller profile on that. And other people like a traditional 5 wood. Like I think Rory still has a 3 wood, 5 wood, and stuff like that. But there's been a lot of people, like I mean Xander. Xander has a hybrid as his 5 wood. He used that Apex Callaway Apex 19 degree or whatever as his 5 wood replica. He doesn't use a traditional wood, so
yeah,
there's definitely plenty of players out there doing that.
yeah. I'm gonna pause this real quick just because you are actually correct on the weight thing. So I pulled it up real quick. Google Labs tells us that back of the driver, heavier weight at the back of the driver can make it more stable, which can Hit the ball higher with more backspin. It also increased the dynamic loft and carry distance. Front of the driver, heavier weight in the front of the driver can make the ball launch lower with less spin, which can help the ball go further. However, this can make the club twist more at impact if the ball is hit off center. So, shout out to you for getting that right in the first place. All right, my man, and we will move forward. So, also carrying the Titleist 2 100 and the 2 iron. Again, still using that Tour AD, Tour Design AD, same chef that he's using in hybrid as well. And this feels like an
Yeah.
interchangeable club for him, just depending on the course that he's playing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I always love the T200. That lineup between the T200, the 100, the I think they have the 150, which is more a little bit strong
Yeah.
lofted. All are
Mm-hmm.
beautiful clubs. Just
hundred
thank you,
percent.
honestly.
Love the look of that for sure. That's a nice looking driving iron, my man says. Just interchangeable. Just use that whenever I want to.
Yeah. And it looks like he's got a little punch hole. I wonder if he's got some little injection in there or something. That's an interesting little
Mm,
marker there on the back of that club.
yeah.
So again, a couple of years
There you
ago, he
go.
was a Callaway staffer, stuck with the Callaway Apex X Forge CBs 4 through 9, rocking the Nippon NS Pro Modus 3 Tour 120. To me, man, there's two styles of irons that are out there. They're the really sleek, really smooth looking clubs. You see that from lineups like we just mentioned. Titleist irons tend to be just kind of sleek. TaylorMade's really gone that route. But then there's these Callaways are more of a rugged kind of just old school CB. I don't know. I think there's room for both, just depending on what you like. We've seen a couple of players still playing these as well. Just kind of a workhorse type of iron. What do you think about these?
Yeah. To me, the Apex is always presented better than how it's played. I have never had good luck in the Bay or out on the course trying out Apex and Callaway clubs in general. I mean, it's a very sad situation for me because I want to believe in the hype of Callaway, but we just butt heads every time, bro. But I love the look of the Apex. That's one of the first, cavity back CB type clubs that I looked at grabbing when we were, when me and Rod, we both upgraded at the same time, ended up going with the same irons and everything, pro combos. So same type look,
Yeah,
thinner top line. But yeah, those were up my alley. Like those were some clubs I was looking at even back then. So always something that I've wanted to try and get behind. But like I said, looks precede themselves with Callaway for me. And as I always send you our little DMs and the IG, the blacked out Apex Callaway and all those new ones, they still look fire as hell. I just can't hit them. So pain. I think one I think the Modus 120, that's a little bit different. Not a lot of people.
yeah,
Again, I think that's more of a niche for Europeans. They have more of the nip and shaft, and they use. I feel like we don't really use the Project X over here in the states. I feel like we're a lot
no,
of
not
true
as much.
tempers, and then of course the KBX if you call yourself a player. So um yeah, that's a interesting club, especially for it to be that light too. A lot of these guys on
Yeah,
the lighter side are still 125. One True Temper S300s are 127. So 120, I think he wants to get his speed up a little bit. I'm
for
swinging
sure,
120s. I
for
love
sure.
it, but I don't know. 125 to 120 feel like is a big difference feel wise mentally. Like, there's not
Yeah,
unless you swung 1,000 clubs and stuff like that, you're not really gonna know the difference between a 120 and a 125 unless you're swinging it. But I definitely think
and
the
I
it's good enough.
remember. Go ahead. But I
No, no,
remember him
I'm saying.
saying earlier in the year when he did that walk and talk during a PGA Tour event that he was definitely working on getting stronger, getting in the gym. And you can tell that. I mean, he's still a small guy, but he's got a little tire around the stomach, and so he was definitely talking about getting some more distance. And I think
Yeah,
this kind of plays into it that he's not necessarily one of the stronger players out there. And it's kind of like when we were talking about when we were playing the S300 that it's a workout. I never really feel
yeah,
like playing a 120 now that even if I'm haven't worked out in a while or if I'm haven't swung the club in a while that it's big a difference to me. But however,
yeah,
if I had taken a couple weeks off or hadn't played around when we were still playing the S300s, it felt like it was, getting adjusted to them was
yeah,
difficult throughout. You're adjusting throughout the round, so I can see that in him as like I said, as he tries to get himself in better shape going into the off season. We could see a change in the way he changes clubs out so frequently. That's very possible for him that we could see him in the 130 maybe next season or 125 if they offer that.
yeah.
Um, Pretty standard fare. Just again going through his history of clubs. Always plays the latest and greatest from the Titleist Vokey line. Last year he was in
Hmm.
the SM9s. Oh, so he's upgraded playing the 46-degree pitching wedge, the 50 bent to 51, and a 54 in the SM10s. Again, carrying through that Nippon, same modus shaft through the excuse me the wedges. Any thoughts here?
Well, you saw he had a lot. You saw he had a third long iron or a third tee off club besides the driver. So that's why he has three wedges. Trippy though that your highest lofted wedge is 54
Well,
with 10
no, no, no.
degrees
He's
of
got a
bounce at them.
60.
Oh, okay.
He's got a
Okay.
60. It's just separate, and it was a totally different one. So we'll come. Yeah.
Uh,
So he's
okay.
he's he's still got the 60
Okay. Well, then in that case, I like the gapping. I know. I know it works good for him. Boom. All right.
for sure. Yeah. So he's got the Vokey type design wedge works, the 60 A grind prototype. Same thing, same shaft that's carried through. So
And I think
that's
that's
why I
cool though.
separated those.
I think it's cool when they use the same shaft throughout the irons. It gives you some familiarity. You're not sitting here changing weights. Like, we've done what's in the bags before where the guys are swinging these 100 and, these 130s or whatever, and then play the S400 wedge shaft, and it's completely different feel, completely different flight.
Yep.
So for him to be using the same shaft, I think that's cool. I think that, that plays into his hand with all the tinkering that he does. At least there's some familiarity with the shaft.
Yeah, even for me as an amateur, I've gone to all the same weights from the iron lineup through my wedges. It just feels more
Hmm.
comfortable to me where I don't have to make this adjustment and, change anything about my swing. So I
Right.
really enjoy that as well. From a putter perspective, Scotty Cameron Phantom 9. Again, the man is a tinkerer. He's playing the Callaway Jailbird at the beginning of this year, which was the
Yep.
kind of hot putter coming off of last year. But he is now in the Scotty Cameron Phantom 9. Really attractive putter. This is one of their newest ones in the lineup. Um, they continue to evolve and put out, I mean, amazingly beautiful putters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I wouldn't play it. It's not for me, but it's a beautiful looking putter.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that Scotty's trying to do with all of these new Phantom 7s and Phantom 11s and stuff like that is make it easier to have stabilization throughout the face, kind of like a TaylorMade, but still want their sound and feel characteristics that they've had for the longest. But not only do they have the lineup line, but if you take it out piece by piece, all of the pieces together create arrows to focus on your start line, your alignment, and your target line. So it's a real trippy technology. But once you separate the pieces and then put them all together, I mean that sounds so stupid. But the way they explained it, um, on Scotty Cameron on YouTube, and then on like our little teaching modules that we go through from time to time through
Mm-hmm.
through our ambassadorships and stuff like that. That's what they're trying to explain. So like the Phantom 11, it has like train tracks to it. This one here, it has like the little things. Everything's pointing up and towards that alignment line, so it makes it easier for you to do that. And then they just differentiate how it's attached to the head. Like a putter like that, where it's a double bend,
Right.
it's gonna have more. It's gonna be more straight back, straight through. But if it was like a smaller slant neck, then would it be more for like a toe flow, something that you can open and close and feel like you have an arc with your putter. So it's crazy diving into the technology of putters nowadays with how much
Yeah.
variation there is. But it's a very fun science to look at and delve into.
No doubt. And it's one of the things that's so individualized that, it seems like
Right.
that there would be a lot of variation to that, right? To figure out
Mm-hmm.
what works best for each particular putting style and what's comfortable for you and your tendencies as a putter. Um, so it's really cool to hear that, how that technology works. And kind of a really predictable deal here with this ball. Playing the Titleist Pro V1X. Couldn't see much variation. Had a comment on a previous video. I think it was a Lydia Cohen where somebody was like, they're playing. She's playing the some left
Older
bash
version.
version. I forget what, like a star or
Oh,
something. I was like, okay,
that's a
but
prototype then.
at
If
the
it's a
time,
star.
right, right.
Mm,
I forget which one they mentioned, but even then, I went to the Titleist website, which, they love claiming people who are playing their balls. And they said that even earlier in 2024, she's playing a different version that they had seen that I think was mentioned on Golf Monthly. So,
mhm.
just depending on how you're striking it and what you're needing at the time, I'm sure ball variations change just like people's clubs. Even though you may be playing the Pro V1X, there's different customizations that they can make for each individual player. So
Yeah.
that is Matt Wallace's "What's in the Bag." Just wanted to cover that since he was our winner of note this week.
You know, it's crazy.
So
There's
let's
a
get
lot
into
of
some.
players that still play older generations of Pro Vs and Pro V1Xs. Like the 2017 version of the Pro V or the 2015 version of the Pro V1X. So if you know anything about the Pro V and the Pro V1X, they had a switch off. So the Pro V1X used to be a lot firmer, a lot more revved with the
Mhm.
spins and everything like that until they calmed it down and kind of dulled it off and made it a little bit more playable for everybody else. The
Yep.
the 2019 version or whatever was probably the most clicky, hardest version of it. So, you know, players like
It's,
Speed and
it
stuff
was so
like that,
bad.
it was bad. It was bad, man. I was like, there's no way I can play this. But now the new version that they have, it's so much firmer. I mean, it's so much softer and it has a better reception off the face that I feel like it's a lot more playable, a lot more gameable. So that's my backup ball to my Tour BXS when I don't have those in the bag. Definitely a really, really good ball.
And what's crazy is I think a lot of manufacturers that kind of use that X differentiation from their standard ball have gone the same way. I've
Mm,
played a few
for
five
sure.
X's recently, and they also had the similar profile. I went away from that ball just because it was inconsistent. From pack to pack, I was kind of some duds in there. Quality
Yep.
control was not there with the TP5 early on in the
Still isn't.
cycle. But when
Still
I've
isn't.
played them, yeah, I mean, they've reduced it quite a bit, but when I've played a few here and there, the TP5X actually feels really good off the club face now versus
Mm-hmm.
same thing. It felt like you were hitting a rock and it was hard to get compression just a handful of years ago. So I think a lot of
Yeah.
manufacturers are going that way. And we've also talked about the Chrome soft earlier in the year as well. That ball
Yeah.
has come a really long way. I hated the Chrome Soft. Either version were way too
Yeah.
spinny for me, and they've really figured out their spin profile. And even though I think they've lost a lot of market share, and that you don't find a ton of players unless they're a staffer kind of reaching for the Chrome Soft, it has come a really long way. So
Great.
just something to mention.
Yeah. I
I think that's a
mean,
good segue into.
look at
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
I think the people that play, well, when you know me, I work in the shop, so the people that come into the shop, they are very firm and steadfast on their Callaway golf balls. So they don't even
Really?
know the compare. Yeah, they don't even know the comparisons of Titleist balls to them. They're just like, y'all don't have any chrome in here. Y'all don't have any Callaway. No, sir. We're a Titleist
Hmm,
dominant shop. Yeah, and so they don't even know
that's
what to pick
interesting.
up. So yeah, I think the
Hmm.
closest thing to it probably would be the AVX because it's a softball, more compressed, but lower spinning, spin around the greens and stuff like that. A lot of people don't compare the Chrome and the Chrome X to the Pro V and the Pro V1X for some reason. So I'll delve into that a little bit myself. But yeah, the AVX is a more
Hmm.
solid comparison quality wise and,
Yeah.
production wise, I guess. It's tripped out to
I
me.
yeah. I wish that they had not, because for a while the AVX had been below the slightly below the Pro V1s in terms of price point.
Yeah.
Now they're right
Hmm.
in online with the Pro V1s and Pro V1Xs, which I hate because I loved for a while. I was a
The
big
AVX
fan of
was
the
a really good
AVX,
ball.
and I played that one
Hmm.
for a solid year. I played it, and then I found some alternatives that were a little more cost effective. But I almost wish they had kind of put it,
Kept it.
in between, you know,
Yeah.
$40 per dozen range versus moving it into the 50s. I think they could have had a hot seller, but I know Titleist is going to make their money anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so,
We still
but yeah, I
price
think
it
that's
as
a
a
good
premium
transition.
mid level ball.
Hmm. So this is an article that I ran across from My Golf Spy. Pardon me from, or pardon them for their website. They have a ton of ads, so if they pop up, sorry about that. I'll get them closed out as soon as possible. But this was like a golf ball do's and don'ts, and a lot of these, as you learn, you know, you go throughout your golfing career and you figure these things out as you go. And the number
Right.
one thing is don't buy refinished golf balls. There's a lot of things that they can cover up, which you see Titleist branding on a possibly a Callaway,
Yep.
scuffs. Again, you're creating probably a not perfect layer on a ball that may already not be perfect. So it can definitely impact your game in a negative way by playing a refinished golf ball. So they were saying, as an alternative, instead of buying refinished, go to like the direct to consumer brands. And they mentioned Vice, Maxfly, and Encore. Have you ever played
Yeah.
some refinished golf balls early on in your golfing days?
Um, I played a little bit. I won't say I didn't, but it was so far and
Okay.
few in between that I didn't really feel like I could claim it. You know me, I'd rather play a shit new ball than play a refurbished ball. I never really was you only find refurbished balls in academy. We don't
This is true.
really, you know what I'm saying? We don't really go to academy anymore for golf balls. I can either get them through my shop or I just go straight to Golf Galaxy when I'm getting some club work done or something, just to pop in and say hello to the fellas that I remember that still work at my local Golf Galaxy. But no, I don't. I really can't say that I bought enough to know not to buy refurbished and refinished golf balls just because the inconsistency on yardages alone, but that has to do with the finish
Right.
and upkeep of the core and how it diminished. And these folks don't know how long these balls have been in water or where they got cut up
Right.
from the mower and shit like that. Like those are the things that people that are like novice golfers and shit, they don't care about. You know what I'm saying? They're just looking for
Right. They don't even know to care about it. But I
they
think my
don't.
motivation early on was like, oh, I want to play a Titleist ball in my brain.
Right.
But I was realizing very early on that I wasn't getting the results that I felt like I should have gotten with these balls. You'd go through them,
Yes.
and this was when I was, starting to play decently, and I was still
Yes.
losing. Miss hits and whatnot, and I was like, that
This
seemed
is
like that shouldn't have gone that far, right?
right. This is remember when we first came in the game, Pro V's Pro V1X is $4 a golf ball. Now they're 5, and we're like, yo, no, like I need that. I I need that.
Right.
I I I can't. Like if I lose it, I lose it. But I don't plan on losing these golf balls anymore. I need the best of the best. I need that. I can't.
Right. And I
Oh, it's such a
and at
big
this
difference.
point we don't lose balls at that same rate. So it's like, I
Not at
mean, I
all.
may go through one lost ball per round, and sometimes it's none. And if I do replace a ball, it's because it got scuffed
It
or
got
something like
scuffed, and
that.
I just don't
So
like the look of it. Yep. Oh, chat
yeah,
and guys, small excerpt. Just want to give y'all a humble opinion. Now, this is crazy, but me and Rod on our one of our very first rounds ever, we ran out of golf balls and literally left the course. We were so embarrassed. I'll never forget it. And that was the last time I said I was going to run out of golf balls on the course. The guys we played with were so damn nice about it. They were like, "Bro, we got some mojos in the bag. Y'all can finish with us." And we was like, "Nah, bro, can't even do it, man. Can't
was
even
that
do
at
it, bro."
Clear Creek? Was that at
Clear
Clear Creek?
Creek, yeah, with John and Kevin. Yep,
Kevin the hairdresser. I was in a
my
group chat
guy,
with him that I never responded to for like 3 years. So yes, mom,
brother.
$5 per ball.
I told you, bro. I told you. He still invited me on a golf trip randomly, like not even 5 years ago. I mean, this is recent, Rod. This is maybe like a 30-person group chat. He was just asking people, "Would you be down? What? This is the cost.
Yeah.
Da 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 da." And then it was like it. But he was nice enough to say, individually message me back if you're down. Do not respond to this group chat. So I thought that was very nice of him. But yeah, that was within three
Yeah.
years or so. Like once the Panini finished. So dude is still around, still creating these moments with his group. So shout out to Kev.
Um, and I saw a video recently of a guy, I guess, that plays down in Houston on Clear Creek. Rest in peace, Clear Creek, man. That thing was filled
It's
with
gone now.
weeds, and the greens were so bad. Which I didn't hate the layout of the course back when we were playing. Of
Right.
course, I didn't have much experience at the time, but yeah, that thing is it is gone, unfortunately.
It is still a great setup. It is still a fun course to play when the conditions are right. The conditions, however, though, it's been a good 3 years since they've been worth anything. Whatever they're trying with the greens, they briefly came back last summer. I don't feel like the weather was like that much of a predicament to where they couldn't save the greens. But this year we went through it again and you saw it. There's
Mm,
like patches of fairway grass plotted onto them that they resided with. Not even like a tip green type deal going on. So, it's sad because, a lot of Houstonians, everybody's played Clear Creek that I know. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gotten a cheapo
yeah.
round in, a real quick round. And those are one of those courses where it's like, yo, y'all can play 5, y'all can play 6. Ain't no marshals around really keeping pace and stuff. Ain't no beverage cart girl. You just got to grab what you grab. Parking lot, you can go straight to the course. They ain't even really checking your shit. So everybody loves Clear Creek.
Yeah, it's a relic in Houston. Continuing on the ball advice, do consider again direct to consumer brands. These have gotten really good. I've been playing Vice balls for
The
the
Max
last couple
Fly,
of years. I played the Pro Plus, and also playing the Max Fly this year. And honestly, I've gone with the my Golf Spy recommendations, and they were saying the
mm-hmm.
Max Fly was one of the most underrated balls, and I agree. So at the beginning of the season, I bought they had a pack of 48 for like $115. So you're talking like, what is that? $20 now. Do the math.
Probably like
$30 per
275 a ball
pack.
type deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So really good value, really good performance. I saw no drop off in performance. They have in the tour line of balls, they have three different profiles. I play the S, which is their soft version. I've played the X, and then they have a standard tour version. All of them are quality, just depending on what you're looking for. The S version has the lowest spin, which is what I desire. I'm a high spin player, so again, direct to consumer brands have come a long way. Encore, I have never played. I've never hit an Encore. Have I seen them on the course and bushes and stuff? Absolutely. But
Yep.
again, these aren't kind of throwaway balls that they used to be. They are kind of producing out of the same factories that a lot of these major manufacturers are producing as well. So you're getting quality control. So look out for My Golf Spot. We're not shilling for them or anything, but their recommendations and their testing, I believe in wholeheartedly. They test hundreds of balls every year, and
Yep.
but depending on the year, formulas change. And so one year a ball might be really good, and the next year, depending on where they're producing it, it may fall off. So always stay in tune with where balls are and where they're rated for that particular model year. Because what you played last year, as you mentioned earlier, a version from before might fit better for you than what they're currently producing. So, if you
Yeah.
find a ball
Listen.
that, yeah, hold on real quick. If you find a ball that you like, you might want to stock up on it. So I love these versions of Max
Truly.
Flies. So I bought a whole nother pack for next season because I was
Yeah.
like, this is what I like right now. So just a heads up on that.
Just as we always mention, especially with clubs, golf ball is the same thing. Get fitted. Know what ball works best for you. Please, 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 please. You cannot diminish these balls and talk shit on these balls if you don't know why you're hitting it. If you're hitting it for a name brand, that is not the reason to be hitting it. There is way too many online free golf ball selectors. Every Pretty much every top five ball and club producer has its own little selector. Bridgestone, Callaway, Titleist, TaylorMade, all of them have them. And they also allow you to say which balls you're using. What do you like in a ball? What do you want your ball to do? What has my ball done before? What are your typical scores? And they literally limit and narrow it down for you. They give you options. So whenever you're in doubt, please go to free online ball selector. It's so easy. Please know what you're playing and why you're playing it.
Right. And even if you happen to go get fit, don't be shy about asking your fitter what type of ball fits best for you. Because even during a fitting, that can impact your results. So like
I
early last
just
time when I
watched
got
the
fit for my
TaylorMade
driver,
video. I
I
swear
got
to
fit for
God.
my driver last year, and the fitter was like, "Hey, let's try a few different balls to get started, see what
Mhm.
kind of spin numbers we're getting, and then we'll keep it to a certain type of ball for the rest of the fitting." So, yeah, you said you saw a video on this recently.
Yeah, from TaylorMade, Trotty Golf, number one master fitter for TaylorMade. Shout out to that guy. Dude does it with a smile on his face, talks to the regular players just like he does the pros. Like I watched a fitting where he was fitting the Catherine Newton, the like one of the new latest and greatest famous actors or actress. I'm sorry. Um, She's now an ambassador for First Tee. She
Hmm.
is, a true gamer, and she says she's been doing it since she's been playing with her dad. So, real nice story with her. But he said the same exact thing. He was like, "Yeah, I got you in these 790s. I'm gonna try you with these 770s, but let's make sure you're still enjoying the golf ball. We might have to change it, but I got you with these TP5Xs because I feel like that's something you can play with. That's something you game already." And then we might switch to the TP5s if you're getting a better reception with it. But he said the exact same thing. He did it in another fitting with a gentleman that was a YouTube sensation, up and comer, but I forgot his name. But same thing. Even in your fittings, the fitter will try you with new golf balls and let you know these things. So again, pay
Yep.
attention to those types of things.
Yep. If they're worth their salt as a fitter, if they don't consider that, you probably are getting
Right.
fit by the wrong type of fitter. So.
100%.
Um, so this is interesting. Don't play low compression, aka soft balls, if you're a high swing speed player. Their equivocation is that in their testing that soft equals slow, and they do recommend firmer balls. So I mentioned earlier that I play the soft version of the tour model. While it's soft compared to the other ones, it's not a super soft. So you see they have a couple of examples up here. So there's the it's blurred out, but they have the Duo Soft, which that's
Hmm.
a Wilson ball. The Super Soft, which they have blurred out, which is from Callaway. I hate that
Yep.
ball. Super spinny. This is the TP's no, sorry, Titleist
Tour
True
soft.
Feel, I believe. Tour Soft here. So yeah, and when they typically with driver, they're saying anything. What did you say is a high swing speed? Anything 105 and higher with driver?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So again, you won't know these numbers unless you go get fit. But anyway, try a firmer ball. Even if you consider yourself a slower swing speed player, you could definitely benefit from a firm ball, especially at the you're not concerned about the feel off the clip face. Keep it moving. It says do give firmer balls a chance, and they kind of give their high end version, the Tour BXS, the TP5 Pro V1X, and then the Chrome Tours X. And don't play scuffed golf balls. You know
Ta.
the numbers say that you are going to lose up to 20 yards of driver distance by playing a scuffed golf ball. So don't think that you're not affected by it or say, "Oh, I'm just an amateur, it can't impact me." I mean, that could make a difference, between an offline long iron shot, losing the ball OB with the driver. Yeah, I immediately upon a scuff, it's going in the bag for like range down the line. I don't play scuff golf balls. I've seen the numbers, I've seen the results. Um,
I try to
I've
tell
just never
people.
been that down bad. I've never
People
been
think I'm
that down
uppity.
bad where I'm gonna keep playing a
Mhm.
scuff ball.
I told you,
Hell
people be
no.
thinking I'm
Cart
uppity.
path.
People, can't do it, brother. Can't even do it. I cannot. You want this? You can play it, and that's the thing. Yeah, a lot of people, and that's the thing. The shitty players and like novice golfers are like, "Oh, I got this scuff ball that they call, everybody has them. They call them the water ball, bruh. You playing a scuff ball, it ain't gonna have the same carry distance. So you wanting it to go in the
Right.
water, apparently. Good
You are
luck,
in you are in you are substantially increasing your odds that that ball absolutely will be in the
right?
water for
You were
sure.
encouraging that, bud. Okay, go ahead, bro.
And their final tip is do think about quality. As I mentioned earlier, again, stay up on golf ball testing. I
Yeah,
again over the last 10 years, been playing golf, what, 12, 13 years at this point, at least 5 for sure, maybe up to 10. I've been a fan of My Golf Spy just because their testing is comprehensive, and you see differences in year to year, ball updates. Sometimes quality continues to get better, which is what we want from manufacturers. But they seem to be an honest ball tester, and I've seen that again in reality, and then just kind of my own experience that again consider consistency. Is every pack that you play, is there a third of it that's or a fourth of it that's crap? Is there 3 balls or 2 balls that affects your game? So you
yeah,
really want to be up on it. To me, if you care about your strokes and keeping a low score, I would sacrifice a few dollars per ball or a couple dollars per ball to play better, because the ball is quality, and purchase a Titleist ball or whoever's producing the best version. Because kind of when you weigh it out, let's say you go cheapo just to get a higher quantity of balls, but you're losing them more often because the cores are off or the layers are off. You're throwing away the money anyway. So just buy a
right.
quality ball.
100%.
Pretty simple stuff. So I think that's the last tip. Oh no, a couple more. I forgot. Don't play with your friends are playing. I think that goes without saying. Go get fit for your own ball. And this one's always interesting. Don't play mat balls. So there's a guy, I cannot remember his name. It's not super memorable, but he does a lot of these putting kind of green challenges, give you different
Love
scenarios
those
with
videos.
either grass stains, scuffs. You say you love that guy?
Yeah, I mean, it really plays into, well, if you're really that OCD about it, it really plays into your feels of, I knew it was something. I knew I didn't miss that putt. It was the golf ball and that one blade of grass that I left on there. I knew I should have wiped that ball off. Love that.
But one of the tests that he's done is matte golf balls versus white golf balls, and the
Let's
findings
roll
show
out.
that the you get less rollout with these matte golf balls.
Yep.
Not to mention that, hell, to me, I know they're supposed to stand out more. I find those get lost more than anything. On a sunny day, those red and orange balls just catch reflections and get lost. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate I hate the look of them, so I've never played matte. I mean, I've played some of the probably yellow balls here and there, but those reds and oranges, no, thank you, not for me. But also, they could be a detriment to your game. So I wish I could remember that dude's name, but I swear everybody that plays golf has run across his videos at some point.
Hmm.
And that was it. So just some really good golf ball tips. I'll throw the link down in the description of this video in post. I didn't do so before we got rolling.
Hmm.
Um, and there was another video. Let me pull up my notes here. Oh, one that we kind of left on the table from last week. It was a Golf Digest article. Again, I'll link this one in the description and post as well about tee it high and let it fly. And they just kind of did some testing around different tee heights, high, low, and medium. And I'm not ashamed to say that I have for the longest time been a kind of generally a low tier of the ball and static, and I keep it the same pretty much all the time. And
Hmm.
kind of after reading this article a couple of weeks ago, most recently, I said I was gonna play around a little bit more with some higher tee heights and seeing what that does. Played with it over the years, but pretty consistently, I'm a low tee. And the results are pretty stunning, actually. I don't know. When I found I teed it high, did I lose a few balls this most recent round? Further right than I would have. Typically, yes. The first round I tried it super consistent. I was able to hit a really controlled, tight fade, and did get about 10 to 15 extra yards of distance in
Hmm.
real time versus when I teed it lower. What is your what do you do typically? Have you played around with this, or do you kind of keep your tee height pretty consistent?
I'm pretty consistent. I try not to tee it down, but that's because uh, I've always battled with my driver hitting down on it. So I've always tried to, since I learned that and had a few lessons and, tried to get more consistent off the tee, I've always pretty much teed it up higher. I'm a 3 1/4 tee guy. I've been that way now for maybe 3, 4 years in a row now. It's just what I like to play. Gives me a great moniker. Um, Now sometimes I still have some novice moments where I'm getting underneath the ball because I'm not quite hitting up on it like I should. But yeah, more times than not, teeing it up where I tee it up, where you're seeing half of the ball or more, maybe like 3 quarters of the golf ball, and it's sitting like at the crown top is sitting at the top, the bottom of the ball. I think that's where I have my best results. And I've always been a carry player as it is, so that's helped me out with that. I try not. I mean, yes, I would like more run out and stuff like that, but you know me, and you play with me enough to know that it typically, especially with the driver, we're up in the air, not a lot of rollout unless I'm hitting my little scraggly tops that just have that top spin roll out. But yeah, I'm a tee it higher, let it fly.
Yeah, I think that's the route I'm gonna go. I mean, to be honest, we've been pretty firm and fast here in Texas, and was getting a lot more height, and I don't know, even with the higher tee height, it encouraged me to swing more up
Hmm.
versus I'm probably zero delivery when it's lower.
Yeah,
Versus I don't hit. I've never really hit down on it. And probably since I first started, I think I hit down early on just to make sure I made contact with the driver. But yeah, I'm pretty much neutral. And kind of when I tee it low, so definitely something I'm gonna start playing with a little bit more. Just being wary of those days where I'm not necessarily striking it the best. That you can lose some.
yeah,
You don't always have control of the driver. So depending on the conditions, of course, windy day, and the tightness of the hole, honestly, and the condition, or am I just trying to get a fairway finder out there? So very interesting conversation about tee height and how it can impact your driver, but something that I think everybody should play with. But it also reminded me of one more damn thing in golf that's a variable that makes this game so complicated, man. I mean, you just think about all the things that you have to think about in the game to play well, and that's just
right.
one more thing that honestly could make a huge difference in your results. Um, Quick little mention because it's so far out, but of course this week it was announced that Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler are teaming up against Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka in the latest version of the match, which I think personally, to me, this is main one that I guess I
Looking
care
forward to.
about versus since the first one
Yeah,
with Tiger and Phil.
yeah.
None of the other
I,
ones have gotten my attention, but this one's very pointed, and we know what they're doing here. What do you think, man?
I think it's a good look. I think if Phil was in a better situation with his game, I think he would be a better fit with like a Brooks or something like that. I don't know. I think Brooks and Bryson have worked out their differences enough to get this in, but also I think there's still going to be an awkwardness to that. They're definitely not teammates on the live tour, and they don't typically enjoy each other's company. And Brooks is not a YouTuber, Bryson is. All that stuff plays a
Right,
part in it. So, Scotty and Rory, they're very cordial, very nice to each other. I think they'll be fine. Go to a lot of tailor-made events, do all the tailor-made snippets so they know each other, they know each other's game. So I think that'll be a fun situation for them. Bryson and Brooks, not so much, but they're gonna put on for them livers, and hopefully it's a good show. Did they say where they were going to play? Is it in Vegas again, or are they going to go to Florida
I
and play?
I think so. I don't know. I don't think I saw much detail, or
I
I
got
wasn't
you.
reading the Instagram captions on that. But it's interesting because back in 2021, Brooks beat Bryson in the match straight up.
Right.
So to see them now paired up, it'll be an interesting one. Let me pull this up here real quick. Just it is going to be played in Las Vegas, which that's where they've typically been. Hopefully, it's not in the light. I want some daytime golf. I don't like all the made for TV um, golf under the lights.
Right.
I haven't loved the matches that when they've been in that situation. I want to say I don't think it's at Shadow Creek, but definitely Vegas. We'll figure it out. We got a few months. We got a few months to get
Yeah.
there.
They'll
But
drop some more details
again,
on it.
we know, what they're doing. It's very intentional. And like it or not, the winner will their league will
Have
get
some
the
bragging rights.
cachet. That's right. So we'll see. And we'll also see if this comes with negotiations heating up or some formation of a deal between the two leagues as well.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get that crap. Done. So that's it on our kind of golf related topics. Let's get into some football, man. So, you know, football week one takes over like crazy. That's why we kind of fit the show in a little bit earlier. Our Cowboys ended up winning over Cleveland today. I think the final score was like 33-17.
Mm-hmm.
Saw
Took
Cleveland
care
got a
of
late
business.
touchdown in there. They took care of business. Going into today, Dak Prescott, man, got a 4 year announced 4 year, $240 million deal, becoming the highest paid football player ever. I
Yeah.
know it's the market. I, my cart mate who I play with week in and week out, he's a Commanders fan. Asked, what Dak was going to do this year. I don't know, man. I don't feel like there's so many young QBs that are coming up these days out of college that I feel like we could have sacrificed Dak, and I don't feel like I've never felt like he had what it takes to get over the hump. That's highly expensive, man, for that dude. When you see C.J. Stroud in Houston, I got a chance to watch the freaking Indianapolis Colts play against Houston today, and their quarterback Richardson, also another young guy, looked really good. What do
Yeah.
you think about this, man? What do you think about this extension for Dak?
I think it looks funny now, but I think in the end we'll come out on the grand scheme of things on the cheaper side because you got to think about it just like what you mentioned. It's funny it's actually funny you mentioned that those two players because CJ Stroud, if he doesn't have a sophomore slump, if he continues to make a statement as one of the top players already in the league, he's fetching 70 for his extension. It's crazy. It's crazy to even think about it, but he will, and he's worth it. That's what happens when
Yeah.
you have like generational talents like that. And my only deal with Dak is is I think he needs to relearn how to win and still be poised. But it's a team game, so everybody else has to produce too. My main deal with Dak is I'm I wouldn't say I'm on the fence. I'm pretty much a fan of Dak, but it's more so because it's the same thing we went through with Tony Romo. Yeah, Tony Romo makes mistakes, but who are we going to go out and get that's better at this time, right now, right at this moment? Nobody.
But I'm not
We're
worried
not
about right
fetching.
now. That's the thing that doesn't worry me. I don't worry about right now. I'm
Jerry
okay
sorry
with it
ass is
being.
though.
I'm worried. I'm fine about delayed gratification of 2 to 3 years down the line. You let it run its course, and you find one of these young studs that are coming out of college. I feel like it's almost comparable to these youngsters coming up in golf now. How these kids are a little more prepared um, than having to come sit for a handful of years behind some veteran and waste away. These kids are coming out ready to go. The Caleb guy in Chicago played very well today. There's guys out there that can do it. I don't know, man. That's a pretty penny. 240 mil. That's nuts, bro. 60 mil per year for Dak. Who doesn't
He's
know?
gonna come out.
They
He's
were
gonna
able to
come out
score
on
in the
that
red
cheaper side of
zone.
things.
Maybe, but they were able to score in the red zone today. I'll give them credit. Zeke actually looked refreshed to me. I was like, okay, Zeke, you got reinvigorated. Now we'll see what that looks like halfway through the season if Zeke loses his legs. But today he definitely looked fresh. Kind of year five Zeke was
Yeah,
back. So we'll see. We'll see how things kind of pan out for the year. Um, it gives me the same feels that I get every year, which is the season's going to start off relatively solid. Dak did take a couple of big hits early on in the game. Does the man stay healthy throughout the year? Are we gonna, have to have a backup situation to hold down the middle part of the season again? And then, when we get to the playoffs because it's almost inevitable. Um, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it's inevitable because the Eagles are still out there. The Commanders are probably going to have a better season than they've had in a while. So we'll see, man. But I'm not putting too many eggs in the Cowboys basket. What do you think?
I mean, I think we'll make it to the playoffs, but that's about it. I think. I mean, I really don't care who it is and that's coming out the NFC. I think it's the AFC's league this year. They definitely have like the top
Mm.
three teams in the league right now, barring San Francisco doing anything crazy. I feel like if San Francisco can stay healthy, they'll be up there. Never a believer in Philly. Um, I mean, I don't. Dallas needs to show me shit, but to me, it's Baltimore, Kansas City, or one of those teams, or like not even a Buffalo. I don't. I'm not a believer in Buffalo.
Buffalo's
I
pretenders. No,
Yeah,
Buffalo's good in the
fraud,
regular season, but yeah.
fraud alert. I think um, it's crazy. I'm not saying I have faith in the Texans, but I have a lot of like optimism in them. Again, if
Nah,
CJ
bro.
Stroud does what he's supposed to do,
You know
the
me.
boys are good.
You know my hate for Houston runs
We playing
deep. I
season.
lived there for I lived there for 11 years. Couldn't wait to flee the city. But Stroud and Diggs together, man. Diggs to me, even
They
at
didn't
this
even
stage
need
of his
Diggs.
career, you said they didn't
They
even
didn't
need
even
him.
need. No, Tank Dell is the real deal. He just broke his leg, and so they scrambled, and they were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" Nico Collins right there. They still They got Dalton Schultz, Cowboys leftovers. Then they got Jordan on the other side as a tight end. They got plenty of weapons. Now, I'm not a believer in
Yeah.
Mixon. I think he'll fall off. I don't see him doing that all season. But yeah, he's got plenty of guys to throw to. He's got a great head
Yeah.
coach. D'Amico Ryans is crazy talented. I mean,
I
he came
know.
from a
It's like
great system in San Francisco, but he was a great coach on the
and he's
field,
willing to take
even as a
chances.
player. Yeah, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
he's willing to take chances. Today
He
they
went for it
had
on first possession.
I, I know. I was sitting there watching it with Crystal, and I said, if they screw up here versus kicking the field goal and end up losing this game, that's big heat. But they were able to make the connection with Stroud and Diggs together
Yeah,
and kind of close it out. So again, if you got a coach with some chutzpah and willing to take chances, and he does it confidently, right?
yeah,
D'Amico Ryans doesn't look like he flinches very often, so yeah, I'm kind of similar. I'm not saying I'm a huge believer in the Texans, but would I be surprised if they have a really good season and are able to win in the first round of the playoffs? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
right, 100%.
So, all right, man. You got any other things you want to address before we hop off?
No, happy true golfer season though. If you're in Texas, this is where
Oh,
it's
no
about to
doubt.
start opening up. I saw your post.
You
Oh
beer.
yeah.
Oh, you saw my little TikTok from this morning. Legit,
Hmm.
man. 70 high mid to high 70s in Texas with all the football fans fleeing the golf course midday. Weekend golf is about to change. Even college
Yeah.
football is taking people off the links on Saturdays too. So I'm
Oh
loving
yeah.
it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for some afternoon golf, kind of just running around the course by myself. And again, the weather spectacular. I'm already wearing a sweater, so
Hmm.
we're here. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
man, your beard's looking crispy today, man.
Thank you. I did line it up. I did cut my hair. You know, not looking
Looking
homeless.
like an adult. That's
You
right.
know.
All right, y'all. Bearder Bros Golf Show. Next week we'll be back at it. We'll have the Solheim Cup to cover. That should be freaking awesome. Hopefully the U.S. ladies bring it home. PGA Tour back at it again. Another week of football. So getting to that fun part of the year with sports. And yeah, oh God, anticlimactic. The U.S. Open men's final today was crap. barely watched it. Straight setter, horrible stuff. So it was a very much a letdown to how good the U.S. Open tournament was
Oh
this year.
yeah, for sure.
So
I agree.
anyway, but yeah, Bearded Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
We'll catch y'all next week. Holler, Bob.